Okay, this is both sides, analyzing tech from both China's and the West perspectives. I'm Juan, recording this from Spain, and today's topic is tech giants.
Welcome to another deep dive into the world of tech. Today we're comparing the giants, the titans, the big names of the West versus those rising stars in the East. Specifically, how these companies are shaping this AI revolution that everyone keeps talking about.
It's a really fascinating landscape right now, I mean, you've got players like Apple and Alibaba, you've got Microsoft, you've got Tencent, and they're all kind of, vying for that top spot in this really, really interesting time for the industry.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see how it's all playing out and where the future of, kind of global technology is going. But one question to kind of kick things off with, did you know that Apple's market cap is like 18 times larger than Alibaba's?
Wow, that's a big
It
difference.
is a huge difference, and they both kind of dominate their respective markets.
Right.
So it's just really interesting to kind of think about like why is that? What are the factors that play?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great place to start, I think, because it really highlights, the playing field that these companies are operating on, but also the incredible growth potential in the East.
Exactly. So let's set the stage. Let's introduce the players. On the Western Front, we've got our, you know, kind of typical suspects, I guess you could call them. We've got Apple, led by Tim Cook, known for their sleek hardware and that, almost magical user experience that Apple is really, really good at creating.
Yeah.
We've got Microsoft. They've got Satya Nadella at the helm, and he's really steering them deeper into AI and cloud computing, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Google, or Alphabet, I guess we should say, as they're officially known these days,
Yeah.
with Sundar Pichai um, kind of guiding all of their AI research and all of the different things that they're doing, with things like Gemini, their newest language model that's making some waves in the tech world.
Yeah, and it's not just about brand recognition with these companies, right? These companies are powerhouses and they're really good at what they do. I mean, look at Apple. They're leaning into AI for more, like seamless and personalized user experience.
Hmm.
You think about like Siri enhancements, you think about the potential for AR VR applications. I mean, it's all powered by this increasingly, sophisticated AI that they're developing.
Right. And Microsoft, they're making some really bold moves, especially by infusing OpenAI's cutting edge tech into their products.
Yeah.
You think about like everything from Azure to Office. I mean, they're bringing AI to like the everyday user's fingertips now, which is really, really interesting to see.
Definitely. And then there's Google, right? They're always like at the forefront of research.
Always.
Their DeepMind project, creating innovations like we were talking about earlier, the Gemini language model that has everyone buzzing. It's they're pushing the boundaries of what AI can actually do, from understanding complex language to, potentially revolutionizing how we interact with information. It's an interesting time to be following Google, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now let's kind of shift our focus a little bit. Move eastward and meet the titans that are kind of challenging this Western dominance that we've been seeing for so long.
Right.
In China, we have companies like Alibaba and Tencent. We've got Huawei. These are names that are increasingly becoming more and more familiar on the global stage.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Alibaba's a great example of this. Under Eddie Wu, they're a giant in e-commerce and cloud services, but they're not just doing online shopping, right? They're revolutionizing it. They're using AI for like powered logistics. They're creating shopping experiences that are tailored to you. It's incredible.
It's really interesting to see.
And get this, they've released like over 100 open source AI models, including a text to video AI.
Wow.
Imagine the possibilities for like content creation. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how they're using AI to kind of optimize every facet of their business,
Yeah,
from predicting customer demand to streamlining delivery routes.
right. And then you've got Tencent, led by Ma Huateng, also known as Pony Ma, fun fact.
Okay.
But they're dominating social media and gaming with platform like WeChat, which over in China, that's like a digital lifeline. Everyone uses it for everything. But what's so fascinating to me is how they're using AI to personalize those experiences. I don't know, content moderation, interactive features, even like making gaming more immersive. AI is powering it all. It's amazing.
It seems like they're weaving AI into the very fabric of like social interaction and entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't forget about Huawei, led by Ren Zhengfei. Even though they're facing some geopolitical challenges and those U.S. sanctions, they continue to innovate, especially in 5G technology and AI-enhanced devices. They're building the infrastructure of the future, all while, navigating these really complex situations. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really amazing to see their resilience and how they've kind of overcome and navigated these different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's, Apple's focus on user experience, Microsoft's integration of AI into like everyday tools, or even Alibaba's, groundbreaking logistics network, one thing is clear. These companies, both East and West, are using AI to redefine what's possible. But what truly makes them titans in this space, it's their sheer scale. We're talking massive market caps, global reach, and the power to influence entire industries. That's where this comparison gets really, really interesting.
You're absolutely right. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about the impact these companies have on a global scale. And that's where understanding these differences in their approach to AI is super important because the West might have a head start, but the East is catching up and they're catching up fast. And that's creating this dynamic that's reshaping the entire tech landscape as we know it.
So we've met our titans, we've gotten a glimpse of their strategies, but now let's dive deeper into the AI battleground itself and see how these companies are putting their resources and innovations to the test.
It really is a battleground out there, and it's so interesting to see how these companies are approaching it. In the West, we see this real focus on the individual user experience, pushing those boundaries, of what AI can achieve.
So it's about making our lives easier, more efficient, and, maybe a little more fun.
Exactly. I mean, look at Apple. They're all about seamlessly integrating AI into their devices to create that intuitive, almost magical experience
Yeah.
that they're so famous for.
But they're also like notoriously protective of user data. How does that play into their AI strategy?
That's a great question. And Apple is investing a lot in what they're calling on-device intelligence,
Okay.
meaning that a lot of the AI processing happens on your iPhone or your MacBook, not in some far-off data center. And this allows them to offer those personalized features
Right.
without compromising user privacy.
So it's like having a personal AI assistant that's like actually looking out for you, for your best interests.
You could say that. And while Apple's focusing on individual empowerment, Microsoft is taking a different approach.
Okay.
They're partnering with companies like OpenAI, bringing cutting-edge AI to the masses. Think about this. Microsoft Office, used by over 1 billion people worldwide, now has AI features built right in.
That is a game changer. I mean, it's really democratizing access to these AI tools and putting some incredible power in the hands of just everyday users.
Absolutely. And then, of course, there's Google, or
Yeah.
Alphabet, as we should call them, the AI research powerhouse.
Always.
They're pushing those limits with projects like DeepMind, creating AI that can understand and generate human language, write different kinds of creative content,
Wow.
and even play complex games like at a superhuman level. Remember AlphaGo,
Yes.
the AI that beat a world champion Go player? I mean, that was deep.
Oh, wait. Someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Hey, it's me, it's Juan, is the guy behind this episode. I'm the guy who gave you all the documentation. And I just wanted to say that when you mentioned that DeepMind is a project from Alphabet, it doesn't sound quite precise because DeepMind was a different company. And all that thing about artificial intelligence and, LLMs, language models are just is something of the past. This is 2025 and I think most people know about them. In fact, this program, you both are AIs. Not me, I'm human. And okay, let's continue.
Hey, Juan, thanks for chiming in. It's great to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Juan. It's really helpful context.
You're totally right. It's easy to kind of fall into that shorthand, referring to DeepMind as just an alphabet project.
What's fascinating here is, yeah, it's important to remember DeepMind was a separate entity that was acquired by Google or Alphabet.
Right. And, again, for pointing out that it's 2025 now. We sometimes forget that things are, progressing so rapidly in this field that what's cutting edge one minute is, old news the next.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really just highlights how fast things are changing in AI.
Yeah. And hey, just to be clear to everyone listening, when we say AI, we mean like the most current advanced AI.
That's a very important distinction.
So thanks again for setting the record straight, Juan.
That's
Okay, let's continue. It's both exciting and a little intimidating, right?
right.
To think about what they'll come up with next.
Indeed. Now, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's look at how Eastern companies are approaching this AI revolution.
Okay.
In China, the focus is often on scale, efficiency, and using AI to tackle those real-world challenges.
So it's less about like individual gadgets
Right.
and more about the big picture impact.
You got it. Take Alibaba, for example. They're using AI to completely transform e-commerce.
Okay.
We're not just talking about personalized recommendations here. Their Kainio network uses AI to optimize delivery routes, to predict traffic patterns, and manage warehouses with incredible precision. It's amazing.
It's like they've created this like digital brain that's orchestrating the entire flow of goods and services.
It's crazy. And remember those open source AI models I was talking about earlier? They're not just keeping those innovations to themselves. By sharing their AI tools,
Yeah,
they're encouraging that collaboration
right.
and really accelerating the development of AI applications across all these different industries.
That's a really interesting strategy.
Right.
It's like they're building an entire ecosystem around AI, just fostering that innovation on a massive scale.
Exactly. And while Alibaba
Ah, yeah, uh-huh.
It's me again. Yeah, I just want to I have a question. It's why do you think that Chinese companies such as Alibaba, as you mentioned, are releasing open sources for AI, whereas the American ones like Microsoft, X, Alphabet, they are not releasing open code AIs. Okay, Meta released their open source, but in general, I think it's surprising that Chinese are betting on these open source AIs. Don't you think? And I also heard that AIs coming from China are way, way cheaper.
That's a really insightful question, one, and it definitely gets to the heart of some big strategic differences.
Yeah, it raises an important point about the differing approaches to AI development between these tech giants.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. With Chinese companies, especially like Alibaba, it seems like they're really focused on fostering collaboration.
What's fascinating here is their approach. By releasing these open source models, they are basically creating an ecosystem.
Right, they're kind of building this huge community of developers and innovators.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this could accelerate AI adoption and development, not just within China, but globally.
Like they're saying, hey, here's our tech, use it, build on it, let's all grow together.
Exactly, and this approach might help them overcome some of the challenges they face when going global.
And you're right, it's a stark contrast to the approach of many Western companies. They often keep their AI tech closely guarded.
Right. I mean, you look at companies like Microsoft and Alphabet, they are definitely investing heavily in research, but their AI is usually proprietary.
It's like they want to maintain that competitive edge.
This raises an important question about who controls AI innovation. Is it better to share and collaborate or to protect your intellectual property?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, and it speaks to different priorities and strategies.
And this could be why those AI tools that are coming from China are significantly cheaper. It's a different business model.
And it's like maybe it's a way of capturing market share and, kind of leveling the playing field.
Indeed. It's a strategy with both economic and strategic advantages, but we can circle back to that later if you want.
That's a great idea, but let's keep moving for now. Okay, so we were talking about how Chinese companies were fostering collaborations, and it's not just the big names.
Right. You've also got Tencent using AI to enhance social media and gaming.
And they're also making those games more immersive.
Exactly. And, all these characters are learning and adapting to individual players.
It sounds like AI is becoming the secret ingredient.
Yeah, and it's shaping how we interact with the digital world.
And like we were saying earlier, that's not just Alibaba and Tencent,
You got it. We're seeing a surge of new players entering the game.
such as Baidu with ErnieBot, which rivals those Western chatbots in its language processing abilities.
And ByteDance, the company behind TikTok, has Dubao with over 51 million active users.
51 million. That's amazing.
So yeah, the competition is really heating up, not just between East and West, but within China itself.
Definitely. And there's more fascinating developments happening.
Right. Companies like DeepSeek, a relatively new player, have developed open source AI models that rival those of the Western giants.
That shows that the AI landscape is becoming more diverse and decentralized.
Exactly. It's not a two-horse race. It's a global competition with unexpected innovations emerging all the time.
And that intense competition is driving this AI revolution forward.
But what does this all mean for the average person? How will AI really impact our lives?
That's right, all these advancements are mind-blowing, but what does it mean for us?
Well, the impact is going to be huge, and the challenges these tech titans face will shape how that impact plays out.
So let's talk challenges. What are some of the hurdles that these companies are facing in this race for AI dominance?
Well, in the West, one of the biggest challenges is navigating the ethical and regulatory landscape.
Like Apple, who prides themselves on user privacy.
Right, but as AI gets more sophisticated, that line between personalization and data collection starts to blur.
Yeah, it's a tightrope walk trying to offer AI while also protecting users.
Exactly. And Microsoft, with its global reach, faces a similar challenge. Responsible and ethical use is crucial.
I mean, there's the potential for bias in algorithms that affect things like hiring or loan approvals.
It's a huge responsibility.
They're not just tech companies, they're becoming the architects of our digital society.
And then there's Google, with regulators watching. As their AI gets more pervasive, those concerns about data monopolies will intensify.
Yeah, it's a big challenge to innovate and keep things fair.
Exactly. So the West is grappling with ethics and regulation, but what about the East?
What challenges are they facing over there?
For companies like Alibaba and Tencent, a big challenge is domestic market saturation.
Right.
To sustain their growth, they need to look beyond their borders.
But going global is not easy.
Not at all. There are cultural nuances, geopolitical tensions, and tech infrastructural differences they have to figure out.
Yeah, and competition from established Western companies in those international markets.
Right. And then for Huawei, the US sanctions have limited their access to key technologies and markets.
Yeah, it really highlights how intertwined technology and geopolitics have become.
And speaking of geopolitics, government support can also be a constraint on global ambitions.
So while that support can help growth, it can also limit things in the long run.
On top of that, we've got emerging technologies like quantum computing that could disrupt this landscape.
Yeah.
Imagine AI that's faster and more powerful than anything we have today.
It's like this AI arms race is entering a new dimension.
Exactly. And with all this rapid innovation, we're seeing new players and disruptive technologies.
So what does the future hold? Will AI bridge the gap or create a deeper divide?
It's hard to say for sure, but the future of AI is being written right now by the decisions these companies make and the challenges they overcome.
And the implications are huge, touching everything from healthcare to entertainment.
It's both exciting and daunting to think about the possibilities and potential pitfalls.
Absolutely. We're living in a time of unprecedented technological advancement, and AI is at the forefront.
It's up to us to stay informed, engaged, and ready to adapt to this rapidly evolving landscape.
Well, we've covered a lot today, from the strategies of tech titans to the global implications of the AI revolution.
And I think we've really just scratched the surface.
Exactly. And it's a conversation that's just beginning, so much more to explore and discuss.
And we encourage you to keep exploring. What are you most curious about? What are your predictions?
Those answers will shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll be back soon with more insights into the tech world.
Until then, keep exploring.